If you are looking to purchase a lake house or even sell a lake house, you really need to know these answers to these questions, and we've got it. Hi, welcome to Dog Talk. We are here today to talk about the 8 things you need to know before buying a lake house, because there is a whole slew of obstacles out there that most people don't even know that they need to know about. So, Frank, start us off with understanding value. That's number 1.
Well, this one, being an appraiser, this one's near and dear to my heart, of course. Knowing the value of your property, whether you're a seller or a buyer. If you're on the selling side, having a good listing agent that will do a CMA for you, comparative market analysis, and use actual comps, and don't use any emotion, but actual data that had properties that have sold in the area to determine what your property's worth.
We can't say like, I feel like you should get. That doesn't work that way anymore.
It doesn't work that way. Down 21, 22, it did. It's like, let's just throw a number and see if it sticks. But now in the market we're in, especially the market we're in now, it's very important that you price your home properly as a seller. As a buyer, you should be looking at it from, your agent should be doing a CMA for you as well to determine, what's a good offer price for that home. Is the listing price where it needs to be, or is it inflated because the seller wanted that number? So it's very important that you find an agent that understands value and knows and can show you how they came up with their number.
Well, I 100% agree with that, because a lot of times buyers think that they're getting a deal based off a percentage off of list price. And if the house is listed $500,000 over market value and they feel like they got a deal at $200,000 off, well, guess what?
That may have been the market value.
Yeah. They paid $300,000 more than what it's worth. And I see that a ton for either buyers representing themselves or using, say, a Houston agent or even a local agent that doesn't know waterfront. Like, there's a lot of different variables that go into it. Let's go, how many feet of waterfront do you have? Okay, what is the linear footage value for the waterfront in that area?
Yeah.
It's not a blanket for all of McQueeney is X per linear foot. All of Dunlap is X per linear foot. Different sections have different values.
Yeah, the direction of which way you face, your backyard faces. How deep is the water in front of you? Just what section of the lake are you on?
Yeah.
All this comes into play as to how much a property is valued.
Absolutely. So number 2, I'll take this one. FEMA code. I love it. Boats coming by. You have to realize that not every house was built to FEMA code. What do I say FEMA code? Reading an elevation certificate, actually knowing what it says. It's funny. A lot of times we're reading an elevation certificate and I'm telling my buyer a certain thing about it, and the insurance agent is telling them, hey, he's a real estate agent. He doesn't really know what he's talking about. And I'm like, I hear this a lot. They're going to call and they're going to find out I'm right. And sure enough, they do, because we know a lot more about reading these elevation certificates than a lot of the insurance agents do. But the important part is you need to make sure that the house that you're buying is built to code. So, for instance, there was a house on Placid, and it was being marketed as a 1,600 square foot house. Well, we had a lot of people call us on it, and I said it's overpriced. It looked really good on paper for 1,600 square foot. Well, it was really an 800 square foot house. They enclosed underneath the house, and it was not built to code, but they were marketing it as legit living quarters.
All square footage.
But the person who purchased it, I don't know if it hasn't really happened yet, but anytime the county can come knock on the door, because they represent FEMA, and say, guess what? Everything underneath needs to go away. And so when they go to resell that property, guess what? They're only marketing an 800 square foot house. So that's why it's important. We've even found there's a few houses out here that the entire house is not to code, The entire house. And like, we had a guy that I told him that before we were going to go look at it. And he was like, well, I don't care. And I said, finally, I was like, if you want to buy it, I'm not your agent, because this is going to be in on the lawsuit.
Yeah.
Because the county is going to come knock on your door, and guess what? They're going to tell you to tear this thing down.
And we've lost listings because we will go in and tell the seller, hey, your home's only X amount of square feet, 2,000 square feet as an example. And he's like, no, it's 4,000 square feet. I want to sell it. And we'll lose the listing because our value is based on the 2,000 square feet.
Yeah.
And then we'll see it hit the market 2 months later, 4,000 square feet with another agent that's inexperienced, that doesn't know. And that's going to come back to bite everybody.
Oh, there's been a lot of lawsuits on that.
Oh, I'm sure.
So comes back, FEMA code leads us into the third thing that you need to know is flood insurance. And, you know, again, we know a lot more than a lot of insurance agents. We are not experts at that, but we know who is. We know the insurance agents you need to talk to make sure that that house is insurable and at an affordable rate. Almost anything can be insured, but if you buy one of these non-FEMA code or one that's not to FEMA code, you could sometimes be looking at $50,000 a year premiums.
Yeah.
I mean, it is
Or more.
ridiculous. So yeah, it's not that it's not uninsurable, but cost prohibitive, yes. And we want to make sure that we sell you something that we feel comfortable reselling for you in the future. So
You don't want to find that out on the day of closing.
exactly. So all right, access to non-MLS properties, Brooke.
Yeah, so there's a whole nother world out there for properties that aren't even in the MLS. And so hiring the right agent that actually knows about those properties, I think over 40% of our properties that sold last year were not on the market.
Year to date, actually.
Yeah, it's year to date. So if you are just looking online through Zillow or Redfin, you are missing a whole lot of opportunities. So we have access to different websites and our network of other realtors that know we sell a lot of waterfront properties, and we're usually the first people they call before they put it out there to anybody else. So definitely that is a huge benefit for working with us as well.
Right, you're on the selling side. I mean, when we have a buyer, how many sellers off the top of your head right now that you know of that would sell, but we don't necessarily have a listing agreement with?
Oh gosh, I've got 3 or 4 pocket listings right now that they've signed the listing agreement, but I've got about 15 where they've told me they will sell, and if the right buyer came along.
Yeah. So there we go. That's 19 just
Right.
with this price. Okay.
Spot.
There's a lot of sellers that never want they want to keep their listing private. They don't want a bunch of random people going through their house. So a lot of times it is the seller's decision as to whether they want to put it out there for everybody or not.
Yeah,
So.
right. There is a lot of agents out there like Frank that have these pocket listings. Well, guess what? We sell most of the waterfront property. So these agents know that, and we don't even have to reach out to them. They're reaching out to us and saying, hey, we have this, this, and this come up. You get those calls all the time.
I get those calls all the time. Hey, I got this. I had one literally last night. I got this coming up on Friday. You got anybody? Yep, let's go. So happens every week.
So, lender recommendations.
Yeah, lender recommendations. I mean, depending on what you're trying to buy. So whether you're trying to buy a lot, whether you're trying to buy a house, maybe you're trying to buy a lot to build a house. We've got lenders for you. We know the people that can make this so much easier. We don't make $1 off of sending you to a lender, but we know who makes your life and our lives so much easier through this process. And it's amazing. And talking about recommendations, we're gonna jump into contractor recommendations.
Yeah.
We have lists on the Guadalupe Lakes and the Highland Lakes of vendors. So whenever you come to us and you're like, hey, I need somebody to cut grass. I need somebody to work on my septic. I need somebody that can build me a new boat dock. I need a new boat. Whoever that is, we have vendors for everything. And we are happy to share that with you.
It's the people we trust to work on our own houses.
Yes.
You know, like we're sitting out here on the dock. Like, who's going to be the best dock builder? Because that's not something that most people have dealt with. And actually, I was talking to one of our vendors, and I recommended him to a place on McQueenie. And I talked to this guy and he was like, oh, well, I got a bid from a guy down the street that does it on the side. And I was like, please don't. Please don't. There's 3 guys that you should be talking to. And like, this is the one I recommend the most out of all those 3 guys. But like, it's going to come back to bite you. And sure enough, he called and he is in a frenzy. And he's trying.
We call that buy once, cry once.
He's trying to get the contractor I recommended to him to come fix it. And that guy's like, I'm not touching it.
It's a huge investment. I mean, the waterfront improvement's a huge investment. If you don't get the right contractor, you're stuck with it.
And a lot of them are known, like the ones that are not good, there's several of them known for coming and getting about 80% done and leaving and taking your money. And for some reason, they still get permits to keep building. So we have the right people. So what's next on our list? Fill area.
Well, fill area, we don't necessarily deal with that down here on the Guadalupe Lake. So I'm gonna turn this over to the LBJ guys.
I'll fill in what.
Do you know if you own your waterfront? So there's definitely an issue on some of the Travis, but mostly the LBJ.
Yeah, most of the LBJ, there are properties that were bought that you do not own the land in between where your property ends and where the water begins.
Survey line ends. and
Your
water-
survey ends and the water begins.
And
Go ahead.
oh, sorry.
No, go for it. Yeah, so you don't own that land. And in order for us to be able to, if you want to acquire that house and buy that house, we need to acquire that land too so that you actually have right to that land.
Yeah.
And so we know how to do that. We know how to walk through that with the different counties and make that happen for you.
Yeah, and it will link to a more detailed blog on the fill area and another video that we're going to do on that one here shortly.
Yep.
But it is important because it's not always the same person that owns the property. So Guadalupe Lakes, it's not a big deal because GBRA typically owns everything and you have the rights to use that land.
Yep.
And so it's not a big deal for the Guadalupe Lakes, but it really is important because a lot of people don't realize that they don't own their waterfront. And that's the valuable part of waterfront property is actually having a waterfront.
If you're wanting to build a dock, you need to know that you're going to be able to do that.
Right.
So
On your land.
on your land.
Yes.
Exactly.
All right, the last point, 8th thing that you need to know is short-term rentals. So that was a really big thing during COVID, but it's still important. Like a lot of people want the ability to be able to short-term rent. And talking about LBJ, I mean, you've really got to know where you can purchase.
Yep. If you want a short-term rental, you've got to know where to go. And there's, within the different little city centers, there are different little neighborhoods in each of them that you can and some that you can't.
Yeah.
There's actually one of them that you can't in 90% of it, but there's one little street. Sure enough, you can short-term rental.
Yeah.
But if you're not calling us, you probably don't know that.
Yeah.
But that's super important. Like if you wanted to help, I was talking to one the other day and he's like, I don't need to do it for like investment reasons. He goes, I just want to help him pay the taxes. I was like, that's a great reason to short-term rental.
Yeah.
And so just finding the right place, the right house to do that. And you want it to be something that people actually want to short-term rental too.
Yeah.
Just because you can short-term rental doesn't mean people actually want to go there.
I know, but it's important that you have the option. And to some buyers, they want the option to be able to do that. And I'm a prime example where we bought our house on Lake McQueen. We were going to buy it as a second home and short-term rental it. We get there and my wife says, we're not short-term rental. I don't want anybody sleeping in my bed. I don't want anybody messing up my house. So we ended up not short-term rental. But the option was there if I wanted to end up doing that. Back on the listing side, 2021, 22, that was the first question we were asked when I would put a listing out there is, can you short-term rental it? I'm not getting that question as the first question anymore. It's not as, and because Airbnb, VRBO, I mean, they've gone down. And I think COVID, the pandemic, everybody was staying local. They were going to short-term Airbnb, but now they're traveling abroad and all that. There's so many other options that it's not as popular as it was during those years. But it's still to some buyers, it's still a viable option to pay the property taxes. And making a business out of it it's kind of hard.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
It depends on how you look at the numbers, and we'll link to another video on that one. You know, it's part of your investment is what? The future appreciation.
Yeah.
And so if you're looking at it on paper from a yearly income perspective, it's not going to make sense. But you actually roll in the appreciation that you typically see on waterfront, and it makes it a good deal. And plus, STR. I mean, most people are buying as an investment, but they also want to play with it. So,
What's the price for happiness?
Exactly.
But honestly, if you are looking to purchase a lake house or even sell a lake house, you really need to know these answers to these questions, and we've got it. So if you're looking to buy or sell, please give us a call. We're here to help.